feet of the chain run. And how do you do that? We're 6 seconds, 8 20 feet, everything you got. Everything you got. Turn that shit up. Let's go.
Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Celebrating Notre Dame getting a beatdown edition. I have my compadre TJ Downing with me. We're going to watch a little bit of O-line play. I want to get TJ's thoughts on the game. Obviously, it was an impressive battle in the trenches for Ohio State on the offensive and defensive lines. So we're going to get into that a little bit. But first of all, as always, thank you guys. We're thankful for you guys. Appreciate all your support. We are growing like crazy. Our YouTube channel hit a new record today in terms of subscribers. So thank you. BuckeyeScoop.com. We are going nuts with the content. I'm going to have Bill Green on tomorrow, talk recruiting, talk about the massive weekend. And I'm really excited to do that with him. That being said, I'm going to bring in my man TJ Downing. Sleeves not required tonight. It's a late night one. We're trying to knock this out. So TJ, give me your initial thoughts on the game. Obviously, it was a very physical game. It wasn't the aerial show that we're used to from Ryan Day's offense. But what was your thoughts initially after you finished up watching the game?
Yeah, it was funny when we did our thread, kind of everybody was doing their predictions. I don't think there was one person out of maybe 100 people that replied on there that they thought the score would be under 25 points. I don't even think I saw anybody down in the 20s. And I think back to what Coach Trust used to say to us about if we can hold our opponents to less than 2 scores and we can score over 20 points, we're going to win the game. And you look at what Jim Knowles basically worth his weight in gold. And who would have thought Mike Hall, of anybody, across that defensive line? I mean, he wasn't even really listed in the 2 deep coming out of camp. I mean, Mike Hall came onto the scene big time the other night. He was dominant on the defensive line, was a big reason they were able to get that pressure, only hold the Irish to 10 points. You look at the score going into halftime, it's 10-7. You're sitting here thinking, okay, Marcus came in there. He won the first half of this battle. Well, if Marcus outcoached Ryan Day in the first half, Ryan Day, he knew exactly what he was doing in the second half. The offensive line, they got the run game going with Mayan Williams, put Trey right on the backside of him, those two working off of each other. They played great old-style smash-mouth football. They grinded it out when they had to. That was an impressive performance. If you expected the aerial show, which pretty much everybody did. Everybody replying back on the scores. Oh, the Buckeyes are going to score over 50. They'll be in the 40s. I was the same way. I thought they were going to put up 38 points. Didn't see it, but they still found a way to win. They still found a way to get what you rarely ever see anymore. First week, a 2-5 matchup, most people are playing a tune-up game.
Yeah, I think that I was way off. I thought we were going to put 50 on them. I thought we were going to run past them. I didn't think they had the athletes to cover us. But after about the first 2 or 3 drives, I realized they're going to play 2 high safeties. We're not going to get behind them. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba goes down with an injury. I think that we missed Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave more than people realize, just in terms of, Chris Olave ran a 4.27 at the combine and Garrett Wilson ran a 4.36. So those are deep threats that I don't know if we have this year. We might with Jaden Ballard. Julian Fleming was inactive for the game. I think he has a shoulder injury, and we've had Cam Babb, who's had a bulky knee for the last 3 years. So surprisingly, as deep as our receiver room is, we look a little thin right now. But going forward, where does Ohio State need to improve as the season progresses? Obviously we have Arkansas State, we have Toledo. We have a couple tune-up games before Wisconsin. What do they need to improve on? Who do you think needs to get more playing time?
Man, I'll tell you what. With what you just said there about the wide receiver room being a little bit thin, I guess we talked on BuckeyeScoop.com about who would emerge as the 4th or the 5th guy, really step up there, and Jaden Ballard was one of the guys that I keyed in on. And it was cool to see C.J. Stroud talk about him at the end of the game, see him come up there with a big reception to move the chains for the offense. But I think you need to eventually find out, because you and I both know this, in a Big Ten season, a Big Ten schedule moving down the line, you're going to have a 6th or a 7th guy across the offensive line that's going to have to come in there and get some reps. How does that 2 deep end up working? How does that 2 deep take shape for this offensive line? Is it one guy? If there's a tackle that goes down, is it going to be a shuffle? This guy's going to go to guard, and we're going to bring in this guy's backup. Is there a pure 6-man? I think that we're going to need to see what the depth on the offensive line looks like. And that's when you roll into one of those tune-up like games that we will have here this weekend coming up, where you're going to get a chance to get some guys in there to get some of those valuable reps, to know that, hey, down the line here, maybe week 6 or week 7, if Jones goes down, if Paris goes down, who are we going to be able to implement or sub in here, so that we don't lose any gel across this line to slow the run game, to hurt pass protection stuff, because without that, I mean, obviously, the run game is going to open up everything for CJ. And to me, that was the most impressive part of the other night, was Mayan Williams. The way he came in there and he took over that game, he showed that he was a savvy vet, that he was ready to take over a ball game of that caliber. Man, that was impressive by number 3.
Yeah, I loved it. So we're gonna break down a little bit of film here. So we got this is the final touchdown that we get. This is a great drive. We start off with a quick little zone play, a little cross action from Mitch Rossi, a kid who is really, really, really a good player. I mean, he's a guy that most people probably don't know who he is, but it's just your basic little cross formation, kick, zone, double, double, double. Wand kind of steps on himself. Really doesn't block anybody here, but it's enough for Trey to squeak by. Obviously you'd want Dewan to be a little bit more vertical so that he could pick off this linebacker. If he picks off this linebacker, this thing might be going to the house. But the linebacker gets a little nudge on him. If he gets a little, the big thing with Dewan is, since he's 6'8", he's always a little bit too high. But if he gets a little bit lower, knocks this hip out of the way, gets him gone, and then he can square up on this, then this thing's out the gate. But
I mean, he can't square that guy up with that second step that he's taken. And you mentioned it. I mean, when you're that big, I mean, it's hard enough to stay low. But when your first step is inside there with the left foot kind of picking up and putting down, and then your right foot comes all the way across your body, you're a right tackle, Kirk. I mean, there's no way that you're going to be able to get that linebacker when he steps up to fill. He instantly sees that linebacker sees that big right leg coming across number 79, and he knows that if he keeps his body on the outside of him right now, there's no way he's going to be able to square up on him. Like you said, even if he doesn't make the tackle, he gets enough of a shoulder on the guy, because DeJuan Jones can't stay square on this because his second step is completely over across his body. I mean, if he picks it up, puts it down, stays into that duck walk type formation or position for an offensive lineman, he can pick this up, stay square. Like you said, probably going to pop it to the house.
Yeah, I just think with and this is something, DeJuan's still young, he's still learning. With him being a G and kind of being on your inside shade, I really don't know how much surface I can get unless they're doing a little return game where they're switching gaps, and they didn't really do that much during the game. So I've already watched the whole film, but with this little surface, I mean, there's not really much he can get to. So I mean, he really should be able to take an easy step, because it's not like this guy's in a 3 technique and he's right on the outside shoulder. A G, for people that are watching this, is if you're on the inside eye, it's like a heavy kind of a 1 technique-ish type deal. And generally you'll see a 3 and a G on most teams. So you got a G, you got a 3 here. Not many teams run the old 1 technique, but I think Wand he's a little aggressive here for me. But again, it's game 1. He can clean this up and learn from it. But it's a good block. Luke Whippler has a great finish here. Kind of schoolboys their linebacker at the end, runs his legs. Nice finish, puts him over the top. And even if it's not a true pancake because it's kind of a schoolboy here, it still feels good to do that to a guy. So
see, here's my whole thing with that entire blocking scheme right there is, does the left guard doesn't really need help. So Luke is taking that front side first step to the left. If that 3 technique pinches, then he should get into the deal. But you mentioned that he had a good finish here. He does on that front side linebacker. That's his guy. But I think he's getting too much into the deal with that left guard. I think that the right guard should be more squaring this defensive tackle, this inside shade up. And like you said, DeJuan Jones really doesn't even need to mess with him. This right
Yeah.
guard should be taking the left hand of that one technique. He should be burying him on a one-on-one block. And really the only help he should maybe get would be when Luke takes that front side step to the left. If he doesn't see that three technique pinch, he should be driving with his right foot up through that one technique shade back up to the linebacker. So to me, 79, right tackle doesn't even need to get involved with that block on the right guard. Unless that guy loops out, which he doesn't, you can just worry about getting to your linebacker and getting more yards.
Yeah, I totally agree. But again, it's a learning experience for Big Juan. So here we got a little sprint out, nice easy play, nice easy completion. Great job by Trey. Juan almost goes a little too far downfield. I don't know where he's going. He's kind of just he's twinkling in the tulips right here. My boy Juan, he's just kind of drifting along, and
Wait,
it's
what
almost
if
like
old call it elephants on parade?
Yeah, well, that was a naked. This is a sprint out, and it's like it's like they kind of, here they're in bear here, so they started lining up in bear. They actually ran a lot of bear against us. I think they're trying to do the Virginia Tech thing. You got a 3, you get your 0 nose, got a 3, and Juan just kind of, they literally stunt themselves out of. If you had to drop a dream stunt versus this protection, it's everybody slanting to the left, and all of a sudden it's like, and you're sprinting to the right. So I mean, there's literally no one for Juan to, and I think he's, I don't think he's confused, but he's like, man, there's no one to block, so I'm going to kind of work my way down the field. But then he remembers, better stop and make sure we get this completion. So it's a good catch by Marv. This is the last drive that we scored on. This was the monster, 90-yard drive. We had up about 7 minutes of clock. And we're going no huddle. I mean, we're not letting them get off the field. These guys are probably used to rotating, and, we're right back to the line. We're doing some look back. A little pitch play here. Again, short side, trying to catch them tired. 7 was their best player. He got absolutely eliminated by our guys, which was good to see. Dewan and PJ really locked him down in the run game. Mitch Rossi, again, really does a great job. This is on the All-American right here. So watch Mitch Rossi, who's our backup tight end. He's kind of the Swiss Army knife of the offense. Buries Isaiah Foskey, who's a first-team All-American preseason. Puts him right on his butt. So nice chunk play here. Really, it comes down to, I mean, you only got to get 3 blocks on this one, because when they're lining up in this kind of funky look, I mean, if you can seal him, then you just got to get these two, and you're gonna get 5 yards.
I mean, right guard's footwork is just absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, and I think that the right,
I think
him
and the center. I mean, they can't. This is essentially how it should look. If the right guard is getting too far past that 3 technique off the jump, then yes, 53 needs to come in here and secure that. But the footwork by Jones, there's really no way to be able to get off to that linebacker when he comes scraping off here, and he's the guy that actually comes in there and just blows the play up. So, I mean, to me, some of the reach footwork, and that too, Kirk, from us running that a lot, that you have to be in a happy medium on sliding to the right but still coming off the ball. Taking a zone step but still being able to get up the field so that you're not having a 3 technique that's pushing the center 2 to 3 yards in the backfield, and that the right guard can actually get up on this linebacker, because if you get that block done, this is another one that puts them in a tough position here. But the footwork right there alone, that second step by your right guard, it's coming across his body, and there's nothing he can do at that point. He's turning back against the grain. He's never going to make that block.
Yeah, and I think you almost, this is a really tough block for the center, but you almost have to stiff arm him and get off him if you're going to work to him. Now, granted, he's pretty far backside, but the whole reason he doesn't get there is because the tackle holds his jersey. Look at him; he spins around like that. You don't naturally spin around like that unless the guy's holding onto your collar.
There's no actual first step by the right guard. He doesn't even take a first step. He basically just pivots on his right foot and drags his left foot underneath him. So that right there alone, that's some stuff. That's good stuff that, when you're playing a great team in the first week of the season, this is stuff that you can work on. It's nice that you get the victory 21-10. If you would have lost a game like this and gone back and seen that sloppy footwork, I think you would just be disappointed in where you're at as an offensive line coming out of training camp, because that stuff right there, that your first and second steps, that's the foundation. Those are the basics of what you do.
Yeah, here we got another bear look. They bring 4 Just a simple pressure. Yeah, I think that, if I'm DeWan, I'm thinking potential twist here with this. Anytime there's a three technique, I'd always set vertical just in case there's a twist or some sort of game here. He just drops, so it kind of makes it easy. But this doesn't have to be as hard as DeWan makes it by setting out on him. Now, if he's being aggressive, that's fine. But against a three technique, I'm always looking for a twist. Over here um, they're really only rushing three. I mean, the one outside linebacker peels and the really good rusher drops zone. So this is drop 8 out of Bear, which, I get it. And, we shouldn't be giving up pressure with 3 pass rushers versus 5. Like that's,
No.
this obviously isn't good enough. I mean, I think that, Paris, he can help a little quicker here. It's a little too leaky, but, I think this is just like one of those learning situations where, if you have 3 techniques, for one, I think the split's too big. For 2, you should set vertical straight back and check that.
This looks ugly. I mean, the whole thing from the right guard and right tackle looks terrible. Left guard and left tackle, it looks terrible. I mean, the center is really the only one that does anything good on this play. I mean, left tackle, the moment that you see that guy start to drop out of the picture, that right foot should be posted back in there, and you see right there that there's no aggressiveness coming back to stop that 3 technique right there. He opens the gate because the right foot is going to come back underneath him. So you could have shut all that down right there and helped your left guard. Left guard's footwork is terrible. His left foot stops kicking back, so this guy's able to get the edge on him. And then, I mean, the right guard, I don't know what he's doing. You mentioned if they run a twist over there on the other side and that end folds underneath there, the right guard is going to come off on him. The 3 technique is not going to be getting blocked by DeWan Jones because he goes out instead of coming vertical. So that right there, another, those are really things that get lost in a big game like this. Just sloppy footwork that, hey, we were able to get out of it, because we got into the right scheme. But offensive line wise, these are footwork things that to me got to be keyed on and get better on by week 2.
Yeah, here they bring a cowboy, a little edge pressure, which this is something that, this is a dead play, and unless you can get out of it, or unless you can, if you can full gang this, if he's close enough, I mean, the tackle can't get out there. So, if the receiver's got to not be able to get a hold of this guy, then this play is pretty much a dead play from the jump. And mine gets a couple yards, couple chunk yards, but again, these nothing. It's not all going to be perfect week 1, and it's just kind of like methodical action, and it ends up working out.
Right, like you said, I mean, for the left tackle, when you're already on your hash, I guess when you see that there's nobody else out there, your first instinct, I guess, should be to turn out to see if you can help that wide receiver.
Yeah. This is a great catch by Marvin. This is something that they fixed in Self Scout last year when they were in pistol, like the pistol formation. They were 100% run, which is almost unbelievable that actually got to the point where it was. So this is the old elephants on parade. This is a naked. Yeah, you turn and run, turn and run, turn and run, turn and run. It's the greatest play in football for an offensive lineman because you literally don't block anybody. Like, you really don't see anybody get blocked. Now, the thing I wish that DeWan would do is kill this 3. I mean, I wish he would come down and kill this G, because this is a free kill shot right here. You could turn up and wheel here, and you can get some really good shots on guys if you come down, because you really don't have any blockers. It's almost impossible to not get a plus on this play. We turn guys loose. I mean, I would have tried to. I almost seriously. Something that you learn as you get older is you always check the safeties. Here's a safety right here. And, when he's topped on this edge, on this nickel, he's probably blitzing. There's like a 99% chance that that's going to be happening. So they bring this edge pressure. And if you want to be really good as an offensive line, you can recognize this on a naked and make it a little bit easier on everybody else by grabbing this guy, because this guy's going to slant down here. Watch. And
let him go across your face.
Yeah, let him go across your face and then grab him and lock him down, as opposed to just letting him go like we do here. And
you can block him right into that G, like you said. I mean, let him cross your face and get him down against that G, where essentially DeWan lets 2 guys go, and you could be helping a lot more.
Yeah, and that was something I used to love doing. Because when you recognize it's like they're not exactly disguising this. When this guy's top tier, this guy's coming, and all you got to do is take like a little quick step here, and as soon as this guy starts to slant down, into the B gap, just grab him. And like DeWand, if he wanted to be good, he could use his right arm and just like, chicken wing the dude and just grab him.
Give him that old Shane Olivier club,
I'm
the
telling
seal
you,
club.
and that's like that's just a way to make this easier on everybody because if you take this guy out of the picture, this guy's in the mix with Cade, he's peeling on Cade, and then really the only guy that's a threat is this linebacker who's he's significantly further away than 11 is, who's their defensive end. So, but that's just like a little nuanced thing that, you just got to coach up. If you see that pressure, now granted, it's a big game, it's loud, it's crazy, but, that's a little
Not
thing that
his
could
first
really,
rodeo, brother.
yeah. I mean, he started games, the COVID year, he started last year. So, again, that's just something that you could sharpen up and take a little bit of the stress off of our guy or Dewan. I think Dewan gets a full start here, maybe. Yeah, he had a couple of those, so everyone was frustrated about that. My guy's trying to get off on the rock, but
Who in your mind, Kirk, if you look back at the entire game when we used to talk about our Jim Parker offensive lineman of the game, who in your mind wins that award across the front five
I'd say
from Saturday?
Probably Paris left tackle. I mean, the two tackles shut down seven. Seven's a preseason first team All American, and I didn't even hear his name the entire night. So that was, he had the big sombrero. I mean, Donovan Jackson wasn't bad for his first start. Like this is kind of a cluster right here because the penetration kind of it picks Cade Stover off. We're doing this, we love doing this zone with the tight end. It's kind of the cross action where he comes and whacks the D end. But the penetration by the center kind of screws up the timing of everything because it's supposed to be like a little counter step, but Cade ends up running right into Mayan. And by the grace of God, Mayan actually runs in front of Cade and between the linebacker and actually gets some yardage out of it. So that is just, it's part luck. It's a lot of skill and it's a lot of just tough running, tough yardage. Because this is not how you draw it up at the clinic. This is about as ugly as you can make it. But
Right,
with
the center's got to be ready for Troy Polamalu coming through the A gap right there. I mean,
yeah,
you see the hair coming down there through the A gap. You
yeah,
know he's coming. You've got to be able to
yeah.
get a square shot on this guy and basically not let him roll you into the backfield. Like this is really bad on the center right here. We get a linebacker that pitches through the A gap. I mean, that's our. It's not what we used to call the Jim Bowman would call the pencil necks, a safety or a DB when they come down to the box. But if a linebacker is blitzing through the A gap, that's a moment right there for us to flex our muscle and show our authority, bounce him out the club. Don't let him penetrate on you. You have to be able to see that if you're the center. You've got to be able to get a better block on that.
Yeah, and they used to call this Alaska when we played the old Alaska crosstalk that AJ and Schlegel would run, and it's just
Yep.
not it's not terribly difficult. I mean, you have plenty of blockers here because you're 1, 2, 3, 4, keep coming through. Donnie could potentially pick him up. Got your cross guy back here, so you've got enough. You
If
just
you
got to
get a good
execute it.
block by the center on the front side linebacker pinching in there, it's going to take the backside linebacker out of it. But the fact
Oh
that
yeah,
the penetrator gets the shot, which that's Schlegel's position right there, because you're basically
yeah.
taking the guy who's got a head like an iron block, and you're going to just fire him through there just to blow this play up. Center gets a block right there. This is a huge play.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing is he still scores through, but it could be a lot cleaner because Cade could get a clean run at the D end, and again, this is just growing. When you see this cross dog coming, you gotta be ready to come off the rock here because the center's soft here and it causes Cade to trip up on him. And again, this is just one of those funny plays where Cade gets tripped up, the ends up the field and Lions squirts through anyway. So, again, sometimes this is football. It's not all going to be, like a clinic tape, but, look, it's good, hard running. I mean, look how many guys it takes to take Mayan down. My God.
Look,
Yeah.
you see number 9 coming in there with the energy at the end, ripping at the ball. He's excited because he just made the center look like crap on national TV. He thinks he's, he thinks he's the man right there. Like you said, Palomalu coming through the A gap, thinking he can blow the whole play up right at the snap of the ball. I mean, center's got to come back hopefully here on this next play when he sees him again. I hope he's going to peel him back, and it looks like he does here.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Locks him down. Still be better probably to deliver a little bit more of a blow. But again, like pocket's good. Mayan fits good in pass pro. As this linebacker adds, and what adding means is when he's got him man to man, and if he figures out it's a 6-man protection and he's scanning the middle, he's going to add. So he's going to add and rush the quarterback, not when he sees he's not going out for a route. So, but again, it's too late. Again, good edges by the tackles. The tackles did a good job all night on the edge. The middle's got to be firmer. Donnie's got to be better. It looks like. I think Luke could be a little nastier when it comes to delivering a blow on this guy.
Yeah,
less
especially
absorption,
after
but
before.
well, yeah, exactly.
You should be looking for a little payback after that dude just rolled you up on your back.
Yeah, I mean they don't call targeting on centers very often, so it's it's one of those things where you might as well put your crown or your helmet and launch a little bit at the guy. So we'll keep cranking along, and we've got getting down to the nitty gritty. We're gonna get down into the sumo formation, which is one of my favorites. And they bring in Josh Fryer. They put in Enoch. Enoch gets in here, I think, the next play. So again, this is another zone cross action. Again, this is a little different because this time you're doing the cross action, but this is a front side stretch play. And Dewan, against this almost isn't even fair when you're going to line up in a, it's kind of like a bastardized bear because he's almost in a 4-eye. He's not in a traditional 3. He's in a 3, 0 nose. And there's no end here, which is peculiar because it really makes this play about perfect. Because Mayan, you can't get an easier reach for Dewan there. And it's just like it's like a convoy, and Mayan, he gets as much as he can, but who gets loose? Yeah, Dewan can't.
I don't understand what the left guard's doing here because the cutback lane is going to open up if he doesn't push this guy across the center's face. He doesn't. The center is able to hang on to the block, but I think if the left guard, like you see the split between him and the center. I mean, literally, Jackson is right on top of him. He's got like 2 inches in between his left foot of the center and his right foot coming from left guard. And that little push right there is enough for Mayan to say, cutback is not there. I got to keep this thing front side, which is going to be junk. But if he can get that cutback, that center doesn't get that push from 74 that kind of pushes him out there, right going. You get one more step going forward, and it pushes right there. No cutback. Number 3 knows right now he cannot cut it back.
Yeah, and 11's a free hitter. I mean, you don't have anyone to account for 11 just based on what this is. So that's the guy Mine's got to beat, and he gets past him. It's a gainer. It's a good yardage play. He's moving the 6, gets about 6 yards. So you'll take those in games like this. It's a peculiar look that they were in, but I like the call. Especially when they're going to run something where they're outflanked immediately.
Right.
And that kind of makes it a little bit. It's like kind of like easy mode. So they start off here. Trips into the boundary, motion across the 2x2, and they're shown an edge blitz, and we gash them perfectly. And again, like this is our calling card. We're a zone team, more than ever. Nice stretch, push. Cade comes back across, whacks him. It's this reach block city right here. I mean, Luke,
great job of the right guard right here.
Yeah, he's the guy that's the key guy, and I mean, really, it's a great job by everybody. This is a clinic tape right here.
Center, it looks like center's guy's going to fall off backside there and get the first shot on Mayan Williams. But I mean, really, you can't ask the center to do a whole lot more than what he's doing right here because, his footwork right there is terrible. But he's thinking that thing right now, there's nobody else out there in his peripheral left. Keep that thing flush straight to the front there, to the left, and that cuts right where you put it right there. But the cutback I see from the vantage point of Mayan Williams, which is the opposite of what we talked about on the last play, the cutback lane. This time it's there. The last play it wasn't. So that number 3's got field vision. He sees it right here, cuts it back inside. So you don't put a whole lot of that on the center at that point. Number 3's got to know what he's doing, and I think he does right here. But if you keep that thing front side with that safety, he's the only one that you got to beat now. I think if you keep it inside between Donovan Jackson and Luke, keep it to the left between left guard and center right there, I think it's probably going to be a house call. Beat the safety in your end zone.
I love the shove by Dewan at the end. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, dude, somebody's got to get some payback there on Palomalu because he's over there just making the offensive line look soft.
Oh, God. Palomalu.
We'd have been calling out Dove head and shoulders all game on number 9.
Head and shoulders. So here, this is interesting. So I think that Matt Jones, I think did he get dinged up here? Because here's where Enoch comes in. Enoch comes in for the last 3 plays of the game, which is interesting. So it looks
this guy's going to fall off right into his leg. Yep.
Yeah. I think
that was
rolled his ankle, maybe. Yeah. That must have been what it is. They must have thought he rolled his ankle or something. Because, I mean, literally the next play, they put in, Enoch hadn't played all game, and all of a sudden he comes in, when it's game-clinching drive time. So Matt hobbled.
You're in the freaking red zone right now, man. You're coming off the bench. That's one of those things. And I know it gets lost a lot, and it sounds cliche, but when coaches say the next play, you can be the next man up. You've got to be ready to go. You've got to be dialed in. This shows you right here. You're on a game-clinching drive. You're in the red zone. For the right guard, the backup right guard, to be ready to come in here. Enoch having his chin strapped on tight, ready to go, knowing the assignment, knowing the checks, knowing what the Notre Dame defensive front is doing. Man, this is a tough position to be in right here. You've got to be glued in.
Yeah, and they're in bear defense the very first play. It's not a traditional easy defense. And you're cold. You've been standing there for the whole damn game.
Dude,
and then
this is called being thrown into the fire, man.
Yeah, and the first play we call is a counter. So you're you're the big sombrero right here. You got the kick, got the wall coming with Dewan. We actually pulled Dewan's big butt, which is hilarious. Dewan, I mean, he looks pretty graceful pulling, I'm not gonna lie. Doesn't run through the guy. Guy bounces off of him. What's up?
Is this a smart move by the offensive line coach, knowing that you've got a replacement coming in at guard, and let's not put let's not put him in a tough position to have a one-on-one block. Let's let him pull, get him into space. Maybe this is a great play call right here, even though the position on the field being on the right hash kind of dictates that you would run this. This is a great job knowing what personnel you have in the game, knowing the backup guards in there. Let's give him what we would call a softball type lob here on this play. Pull to the left there. You really can't screw this up a whole lot if you're the right guard.
Yeah, and he kicks the shit out of this guy too.
He does.
Right on the ground. So it's I mean, the guy that needs to be better is Dewan, because he fits up on him and the guy just bounces off him. He's got to sustain a little better than this. And for as big as his ass is, he's gonna be able to run through that. But Enoch is about as. I mean, this is clinic right here, man. He takes him
for your first play, man.
He kicks him and buries him on the ground. Look at that.
That's clutch.
Yeah, we're down to the 1 yard line. Then we put in the hippo formation, which is my favorite.
Look,
we bring in
there to help his running back up. This is what I was talking about opening up, man. It's good to see this because it looks like, I mean, obviously I don't know what would happen if they had to put a backup tackle in, but to know that you've got a backup interior guy that can come in and do something like that, even though this play right here, he kind of looks like garbage, but there's some things that you can work on here, and it's not the right guard's fault here.
No, this is the right tackle. Yeah, absolutely. Like Enoch's great on this. I just think that this isn't an easy block. I mean, if you're just gonna bail on this guy,
right tackle,
you got to get Cade here, get here. Man. Oh yeah. The right. I mean, he's got to.
He should not be sticking. If the moment that defensive tackle or that 4-eye, the moment he takes that first step into the right, tackle should be up there on his guy right away.
Yeah, I mean, this would be. Yeah, this is. It's not
right guard on his own here. Once that guy takes an inside step, that right guard's on his own. You'd have never stepped back in to help me.
4, 5, 6. Not on a stretch play. Why would I help you on a stretch play?
You'd have said, man, this is time to sink or swim, bro.
Hey, you're on scholarship too. 6, 7, 8. I mean, so they've got a free hitter. I mean, they've got 9, and we've got You know, so
You just
this is
you just weren't sure if I'd have the legs to be able to pick up the block.
I hope you do. That's a little defensive end, a little white defensive end. I hope you do. 99, that ain't JJ Watt. I guess it's probably his first play of the game. I hadn't seen him all game. I saw 7 and 9 a lot. I never saw that guy. But now
It's not big.
here comes the hit.
Mary.
Here comes the hippo. This is the sumo formation where they put in Josh Fryer at guard, or they put the backup guard. He's in 41 right here. So you have Josh Fryer, Cade Stover, Mitch Rossi. So you basically have 6 offensive linemen, 2 tight ends, and a Mecca. So this is great. You know, and they hadn't shown this all game, so you know they're in their diamond. You know, this is diamond goal line defense basically. It looks like a bear front, but it's diamond, and you know, these guys better get ready to rock because you're not throwing it to 41. You got about 1 foot splits.
Well, let's see what the footwork looks like.
Oof, woof.
41, not ready. Catching.
I'll tell you what, man. Look at 66. Look at Enoch. Enoch's come off the rock, puts his guy in the end zone.
The goal. He got to the goal line quick.
Yeah. You know, and this is just confusion between Paris and Dom. They don't know who they're working to because, you know, they basically leave the 3. I think they leave the 3 technique go. Yeah, they leave the 3 technique go, and mine's big enough to you know run them over. But
that was like I think it was Boone the one time when we played in the game of the century. Like him and Rearing did a combo block, and both of them just like hit the 3 technique and let him go. And I think Pitt ran right past Alan Branch. He never even saw him. Like, you know, but yeah, obviously you don't want to leave that 3 technique right there. But they don't realize, like you see there, that's who they should be going to. And essentially that front side linebacker, that's the one that number 3, Mayan Williams, is going to have to beat. It shouldn't be the tackle. But you see right here, like you said, he's just got enough strength when he meets him at the goal line.
Yeah, I mean, these guys on the backside are just all kind of window dressing because they're running this right in the A gap. This is like this would be like a 13 zone play. I mean, it's like a duo, which is a no pool power play where you know it's just all single block here, hang on to your butt, double team, and then I mean, this guy's going to be the free guy, so that's the guy who's going to have to make miss. So
basically, it's just wedge blocking. It's just
it's wedge blocking. Yeah, it's just the old duo play where I mean
41's just got to be more. He's got to be ready to be able to stop that guy there, and it doesn't matter what happens at that point. If you get that block, number 3 is going to fit in there and get in the end zone.
Yeah, these 2 are coming here, and I mean, like I said, this is all just I think to get all these people
those
looking
are
over here.
Those are the only people that can hurt you is somebody leaking off the backside like it does on 41.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I mean, if I'm him on this, I'd probably just cut him. I mean, honest to God, like why would you not cut him on this?
And the footwork to start by the left guard and left tackle is really, really good. That's really good footwork. Look, they're not stepping on each other. They both got a piece of the guy.
Yeah.
It's just Paris comes off when they should just drive all the way down.
Yeah, I mean, PJ should just stay on and bury this guy and make this guy from back here make the play on 3. And Mayan's a freight train coming through there, so he's not gonna make the play. But I mean, PJ, I mean, you're short is what it really comes down to. Is you're short a guy, but that's where Mayan's got to lower his shoulder and earn his scholarship check essentially. So
the Wintonwood Warrior.
He's a beast, man. I mean, he player of the game on offense. He was run like a mother. It was amazing.
And that pass reception he had, man, that was huge. Coming back to the ball, you don't see a whole lot of running backs that are going out into the route that make that heady play like that.
Nah, he was balling, man. He's a guy that I think people slept on in a big way, just because he's an Ohio kid and he's not from Texas and he wasn't a 5-star, but kid's a baller, man. And he
kind of reminds me a lot of Deshaun Wynn.
Really?
Do you remember Deshaun Wynn from Florida?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of reminds me of his running style a little bit. I don't know if you see the comparison.
He reminds me of Carlos Hyde. I mean, he's like Carlos. Like Carlos in 2013 was, could have been first team All-American. I mean, he was unbelievable. Yeah. But he reminds me of Carlos and guys that we played with. I don't know if we had a guy like that because he's not really like Beanie because I think he's a little more agile. Like I feel like with Beanie, I didn't feel like was a guy that could catch the ball as well as Mayan can. Obviously they're both good running backs. I thought Beanie was more of like a straight line guy. I wasn't really going to make anybody miss, but he'd truck guys. But no, it was good. But yeah, I'll lock this thing down, man. Any final thoughts watching that last game clinching drive?
Man, just get the footwork dialed in. You got the Fighting Chick Harleys coming in this week, man. You should be able to get some things figured out here. It's good to be able to get the victory, to be able to go back and watch some of the bad things that you want to get shored up on as offensive linemen. That stuff that goes all the way back to spring ball, man. Taking the proper first step, taking the right second step. First and second step are so key and crucial for offensive linemen. The first game of the season that there's going to be some kind of feeling out processes, with your splits. How tight are you with guys? New offensive lineman, new pieces starting. Like you said, left guard, Donovan Jackson. He comes in, gets that first start. How's he going to transition with some of those double teams blocked with Paris, PJ, also working with the center, Luke. So to get guys on the same plane, so to say, we always talked about that in pass pro, everybody being on the same plane, getting your tackles to stay vertical enough to be on those same planes with the offensive guards to be able to pick up those twists and those stunts. You know that the only thing teams like Toledo or Arkansas State, whoever, these small schools, the only thing that they can do to screw with you as an offensive line up front, they're going to have to twist the crap out of you. They're going to have to line stunt, movement, angle. There's no possible way that these dudes can come in and play you straight up because they will just get mollywopped just off of pure size alone. So now we get to see, put the work in, make the corrections, go out here. You're going to see a lot of different junk flying at you from Arkansas State because they have to do that. How well do you pick it up after this week in practice?
I love it. Yeah, you got to move. I mean, if you're not good enough to stand in there, you're not Georgia, you're not Bama, you got to stunt, you got to move,
Right.
you got to be multiple. That's the only way you can try to confuse them and try to get some cheap plays, some cheap negative yard plays, some turnovers, whatever it takes. So, well, my man, I appreciate you. This was a great episode. I'm going to lock this thing down right quick. As always, we appreciate you, Buckeye Nation. Thank you guys so much. I would love for your feedback on this episode. This is one of our film review sessions. We talked about that last drive where they were just mashing. It was really fun to watch. I love seeing Enoch get in there and play a little bit. I love the sumo package of the extra offensive lineman, Josh Fryer in the 41 jersey. I think Mayan Williams really took a big step forward. Really, it's like a 1 and a 1A between him and Trey Henderson. Really excited to see how he keeps progressing and how much they keep feeding him. So with that being said, appreciate you guys as always. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us a like if you enjoyed this video. And catch me on BuckeyeScoop.com. I'm telling you, our message board is on fire right now. We have the best content. We are cranking. We've got a big podcast with Bill Green coming tonight to go over recruiting updates. So as always, I appreciate you, Scoop family. Appreciate you, Buckeye Nation. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go Bucks.